I'm gonna tell you, I started listening to this podcast. I should probably give him a shout out on September 11th. Shit, and you might be right. There's some shady shit with that. I didn't look into it enough.
Tower 7.
So it's called Theories of the Third Kind, and it's their episode number 65, 9/11. Dog.
You know who you got? You know who's really in tune with that?
Sam Tripoli.
Besides Sam Tripoli,
Eddie
White
Bravo.
Mike.
White Mike.
White Mike is pretty.
White Mike.
You got to listen to him on it too. He's solid with
Yeah,
it.
it's called Theories of a Third Kind. Podcast is fantastic. It's
Theories of a-
three people. And I think one dude was in the Waco, Texas cult.
Waco, Texas. So do you
Wait,
see
what is
That
that?
one's so interesting
was
too.
crazy.
That one
Can you make it
piss
bigger?
you off.
Did you watch the Netflix Waco?
Of course.
Oh, man.
That one will piss you off.
It did. I did.
The way the government handled that, they really fucked them. The media fucked them.
Exactly. The,
The
media.
media super fucked them.
Man, so I was deep
Saying that
down.
it was hurting, abusive to kids.
It wasn't even
And
like
they came in there and they did like investigation. Like, no, he didn't touch any kids.
at all, but
What are
they
y'all
didn't
talking
want to
about?
hear that. Waco, Texas.
Waco, Texas.
I don't know.
About this
With
like cult. It wasn't even a
Davidians?
cult. It wasn't even.
Oh, that's like from the 90s.
Yes.
Like 93?
93, 97 maybe.
Yeah.
But back to September 11th, dog.
talk that.
It is mind blowing. When you start hearing the details, you're like, what?
I'm trying to tell you. Yeah.
So you know the security of the tower, of the 9/11 towers, like the Twin Towers, the
Twin
security.
Towers? Yeah.
Go ahead.
You know, it's Bush's cousin who runs security.
But he said it like that.
I know, right? Hey, you know that Bush's
Hey,
cousin that runs
did you
security?
know when the first plane ran into the building?
the first one.
The South Tower, they got on the intercom, were like, stay calm, it's not a big deal, just stay there, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
They told him to stay in that building? Why
Then,
would they?
then did you know that some of the floors on that building were cleared out ahead of time? Before that day, like just some of the floors were
heard
dead
about that,
empty.
yeah.
Some people didn't
Cleared
go to
out.
work that day.
Exactly.
Were they told?
Exactly.
Or they,
We
they
don't
don't say
know.
that.
Those floors were empty. Did you know that? Remember President Bush, who was the president when 9/11 happened, George Bush Jr. When he was doing like a thing at a elementary school, and when they went and told him, they're like, it doesn't make sense because they tell him and he's not like, oh shit. They tell him, and any other time they're like, yo. So they're flying these planes into buildings, dog. You've announced you're here. If they're going, like, you're the main target. We should get the fuck out of here. Remember, he just chilled there. Didn't rush out or nothing. He just chilled there. When you start looking into it, and I'm not a big conspiracy guy,
No.
Look
but you
into
hear
it.
all this shit, you're like,
Go ahead.
what?
Yeah, it's mind boggling. Yeah, you just got.
And then did you know, because you know George Jr., I think they call him George Bush.
George Bush.
George Bush Jr.
George W.
George W. Bush. You know he was the head of the CIA before he was president, and before that he owned like a construction company. And you know his main business.
in Texas, right?
You know his main business. You know the business.
Put me on game, dog.
Osama bin Laden's family paid him a ton of money. So when all this happened and there was like a big like uproar and like
Wait, George Bush Sr.
George Bush Sr.
Got it.
No, George W. Bush.
Was CIA. Oh, I thought you said
No, he was
senior.
head of CIA
Oh, God. Okay.
before he was president. But a lot of his business was with bin Laden's.
And now he doing art and shit.
I don't know what the fuck he's doing.
It's
But
crazy.
when you look
seen his
into it, you're
training?
like, what?
Yeah, you think about
Wait,
it.
And then so America's known for having the best Air Force like in the world by far, not even close.
Yeah.
And they could have easily taken out those planes. And there was warnings before, but no one supposedly took them serious. So they could have easily taken out
What,
those
like
planes.
like days before there was warnings.
There
Or-
all those warnings leading up to it, a ton of warnings. They just ignored them.
Damn. I remember watching that shit on TV when I was.
Me too. I was
What,
a freshman in college. My dad, I call my dad, and he's like, can you believe this? I'm like, what? He's like, God damn it, turn on a fucking TV. I turn on, I'm like,
He's all
oh.
aggressive?
He was so mad. and then also the way they said that they had like these engineers talking about the way the planes hit the buildings. Like, yeah, they collapsed due to the fuel, the fuel from the jet fuel. Jet fuel don't work like that. Because like when they were digging up, like when the towers fell and the way they fell,
Yeah.
they were digging through trying to find shit, you know? There was like lava, like it was melted. Jet fuel don't do that.
Jet fuel don't do that.
Jet fuel don't do that.
So it's
What does that?
They have the theories on what does it. And the way they fell. The way they fell is just like when they demolished buildings.
Yeah.
That's the way. Notice how they didn't go like this. They didn't
Yeah.
go like that. They came down. They came down.
set up?
Okay.
And then the plane, I think it was flight 93. So
Not
So Flight 93 that
Hydra.
ran into the Pentagon. You know what I'm talking?
yeah,
I think
exactly.
yeah.
Another one. That's all I was
Remember
just about to bring up.
they ran
Yeah.
into the Pentagon. What's interesting about that is the Pentagon. They had a guy who works for the Pentagon talk about this. They have a system there where they think it's close. They have these missiles that shoot it the fuck down. So they, Dick Cheney was the vice president. You know, Dick Cheney, when they told him, hey, they hijacked the plane, he goes, shoot it down.
Yep.
They wanted to shoot it down because they thought they were going to run another building. He goes, shoot it down. So they say that.
So they could have saw that. You're saying they could have saw that plane coming.
They could have.
Oh
Listen.
yeah, but here's what, because you know they stopped all air travel, so
Yeah,
any
yeah.
planes in the air were hijacked. So when that plane ran into the Pentagon, a lot of people who were on the outside, like that live around the area, said they saw a rocket hit the plane.
And
So
that
right
was-
before it got there, it hit it and then it crashed. Here's what's interesting though: all the shit, like all the documentation of Al Qaeda, Bin Laden, George Bush construction business, all that, where that plane hit, what do you think it hit? It hit all those documents. All those documents are gone now. So the area that plane ran into is where they keep all their documents.
And so they just
They're gone.
dispose it. Exactly. So they don't have any traces back to the corruption. Damn, that's crazy. So
Again,
now,
I'm not a big
again,
conspiracy guy, but there's so many
Yeah.
coincidences. I'm like, dude.
Yeah, it's like the JFK stuff.
Yeah.
Where it's just
JFK,
so
I know
much-
for a fact is.
Got it.
We know for a fact that is not a conspiracy.
Didn't they say Bush Senior had something to do with that? Or
No. It was Hoover.
Oh, JFK.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, just digging into it. I agree.
Dude.
Yeah.
I listen to this podcast. I'm like, what?
You should also listen to this. Like I'm still like deep diving in the Federal Reserve Act.
But that same podcast goes in. So they go in all conspiracy. So they went to JFK, and
How do you go to that one?
theirs was mafia. A lot of people go into the Cuba ties, which I don't really fuck with, but they